You've been dubbed the Maya Angelou of of this generation, and I mean that's a hefty duty title. Who dubbed you Maya Angelou?
It is. There's so as I've been places, I've heard it quite a bit, and every time I hear it, it's still like, whoa, whoa, are you? No, don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby, right? It's like, oh man, I'm honored, but it's like those are huge shoes that I probably will never fill, but I get to stand in my own right. I mean, I've met her, I've been in a space with her when she was alive, and just to watch her, the way she moved a crowd was incredible.
Yeah.
So, but I've heard it quite a bit, and I never take it lightly at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could see you being compared to Maya Angelou actually. If
Thank
you're
you.
comparing the works, I mean, probably can't compare the success only because you haven't reached that plateau and
Right.
you're not dead. So so
Thank you, Jesus.
so of course you've got quite a ways to go,
Right.
considering. But as far as your words and how you present your poetry, I would definitely say it is very Maya Angelou-esque.
I appreciate that. She definitely is on the top of the list when it comes to poets that have impacted my life. In college, I studied African American literature, so Dr. Maya was, I mean, she was everything.
I've met her too, and it wasn't the best meeting on the face of the earth.
Say
But
that.
I say that, but I also say this: Maya is Maya. You know what I mean? So like when she talks, she just like she real when she talks.
Oh, yes.
So it's
Yes.
her realness doesn't just come out in her poetry. I think her poetry is more fake than her actual conversations that she has with a rock, a river, a tree. That's symbolism. That's metaphorical. But when she
Right.
talks to you, she's like, please don't put
Oh,
your hand on the pillow.
the second time I was in a space with her, someone gave her a bottle of water and she said, "Women don't drink out of bottles. Bring me a straw." I was like,
But see, now what you should have picked up from that was to always use a straw.
Yes, here you go. See? There you go. Changed my life.
I know. So, what topics do you mostly cover in your spoken word? In your,
Uh, Faith is always a big thread through in every piece that I write, or the majority of pieces. And then I talk about stuff that I see. I'm really drawn to people, like people watching. So I imagine what people are going through and kind of take my perspective of how, you know, I hope it ends for them. And so faith, relationships, my where I come from, being Jamaican and raised in America, it's just so like I just write about everything. But I think the constant thread is usually faith.
do you often go back to Jamaica, or do you go to Jamaica often to visit family or anything like that? Or
I haven't been in a few years, but my family is I still have a lot of family there, and my family goes back a lot. Like my parents were born and raised there, so they're always there, it seems. And then my siblings. But I guess kind of being in California just takes a lot more money to get over on that side. So anytime we go, we're going to see Florida family in Florida and Alabama, and then we're just kind of getting the Jamaican vibes in Miami, basically.
speaking of money, how do you make money with your poetry? And I don't ask to be nosy,
Oh
Ty.
no, you're good.
I ask because there are people who are interested
Hmm.
and have dreams of being poets or
Yeah.
dreams of being artists, but those dreams are oftentimes shattered because they don't see how they could make ends meet or make an
Right.
honest living, living out their dreams and using their God-given gifts. So
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
do you make money writing poems?
By the grace of God, right? Um, so I get to travel a lot, and that came from doing a lot of free events in Atlanta. When I lived in Atlanta for 8 years, probably the first 2 of those years, almost everything I did was free. So I lived out here in LA, started doing poetry at the lounge, and we started traveling. And then a couple churches were like, "Oh, we're kind of interested. Let's maybe try you out." And then I moved to Atlanta, and it was like kind of starting over, right? So I did a lot of open mics, and then people saw me out and they, asked me to come speak here, come do that here. So I was really busy, but a lot of those things early on, I wasn't getting paid for. But I figure you have to put some kind of seed in the ground, right? And then the seed will grow. So from there, it was like constant events and opportunities, colleges, churches, open mics, clubs, anywhere, bars. I didn't care. I knew what I was going there to say. So wherever I was, it didn't impact me. I knew what my message was going to be, what poem I was going to do, and it was clear. So for making money, it really kind of took some time, but that investment was worth it, because now I get to travel and get booked and go places, and God's opened so many doors. So there really is a financial opportunity. You just kind of have to put in your time in the beginning.
How long would you say it took for you to make your first paycheck from poetry? From you doing poetry to actually getting a check in your hand?
Well, because I think I was really uniquely positioned because I was at the Poetry Lounge, and it's still a place where so many eyes are. I would say maybe the first year or so, within that first year, just from being considered one of the core poets there, I was able to get a check. It wasn't like super substantial from what I remember, but it was somebody putting some money in my pocket to kind of say, hey, you're doing a good job.
And people are still putting money in your pocket. You've done radio ads for McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Aveeno. Like, how does your, let me be clear. So was your poetry featured in those commercials, or were you in those commercials?
Yes, it was me doing poetry in those commercials. So I met a guy because I went somewhere and did a free event, and he happened to be on a radio show. He was a DJ on a show, and he invited me to come on the show the next morning. And I went the next morning, and he said, hey, you have a poetry book. Will you give me a book? And I'll give you a book, sir. I am a starving artist. I can't give you a book.
Look, I can speak for radio DJs. We always want free shit. Like, I don't know, like, that's embedded in our brain. We are very egotistical and cocky about it. We're like, if it ain't free, forget you. Do you know who I am? I'm on the radio.
Well, so, I am so glad I gave him that free book, Tammy, because it opened so many doors. So I didn't know that he actually worked for a company that produced jingles. And so McDonald's, Aveeno, Pizza Hut, some Tyler Perry stuff, there were so many opportunities that came through that. And I got the chance to do poetry. I think I sang a line on a Pizza Hut from one of the Pizza Hut commercials, but I really was able to write poetry and put it into those jingles. And actually the one that I did for McDonald's, which I think was the first one, won a Silver Mike Award, which I don't even know where that award is. I'm sorry. But
she get awards and don't even know where they are.
It's not like that. I just don't know where.
That is very Maya Angelou-ish. Lois. Maya Angelou is.